Across the lifespan, we go from newborn to toddler to teen to mature adult. Each stage of life's journey, there are physical, cognitive, and social milestones. The branch of psychology that studies physical, cognitive, and social changes throughout the lifespan is called Developmental Psychology. During the course of this lesson, I hope to answer the following questions for you. What role do nature and nurturing play in human development? What are chromosomes, DNA, genes, and genome, and how do genes and the environment interact? How does life develop before birth, and how do teratogens put prenatal development at risk? First, nature versus nurture. Parents everywhere wonder, will my baby grow to be peaceful or aggressive, homely or attractive, successful or struggling at every step? What comes built in and what is nurtured and how? Research reveals that nature and nurture together shape our development every step of the way. So how genetics, nature, interact with our environment or our experiences, which is nurture, is kind of what we're talking about today. Does Brad Pitt look like he does because of really good genes, or is it because of the environment that he was raised in? Nothing is more natural than a species producing itself, yet nothing is more wondrous. For humans, it starts when a woman's ovary releases a mature egg. The 200 million or more sperm deposited by the man then begin their race upstream. Only a small number of sperm will reach the egg. Those that do will release enzymes that eat away the egg's protective coating. As soon as one sperm breaks through the protective coating of the egg surface will block out the others. Before a half a day passes, the egg's nucleus and sperm will fuse. The two have become one. If all goes well, the cell will subdivide again, and in 9 months, a human being will be born. So the sperm cells first surround the egg. As one sperm penetrates the egg's outer coating, the egg and the sperm begin to fuse, and then we will get a human being in 9 months. Contained within the new cell is a master code. This code will interact with your experience, creating a being in many ways like other humans, but in other ways like no human. Each of your trillions of cells carry this code in its chromosomes. These thread-like structures carry the DNA we hear so much about. So the thread-like structures, they're made of DNA molecules that contain our genes. So DNA is a molecule containing the genetic information that make up chromosomes. And genes are pieces of DNA, and they can be active or inactive. External influences can turn on genes, much as a cup of hot water turns on a tea bag and lets it express its flavor. A genome, genetically speaking, every other human is so close to being your identical twin. It is our shared genetic profile, our human genome, that makes us human rather than chimpanzees, tulips, or anything else. This is the complete instructions for making an organism, consisting of all the genetic material in that organism's chromosomes. So a little overview of genetics. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Chromosomes are long, twisted strands of DNA. DNA is the chemical basis of heredity and carries instructions. Genes are the basic unit of heredity and single unit of DNA on the chromosomes. Now let's talk about prenatal development. Fertilized eggs, fewer than half of which will survive beyond 2 weeks, are called zygotes. Then the cells begin to specialize. At about 10 days after conception, the zygote attaches to the wall of the mother's uterus. So a zygote is a fertilized cell. Less than half survive the first 2 weeks. And at about 10 days after conception, it will attach to the uterine wall. For 1 in 270 sets of parents, there's a bonus. 2 heartbeats will reveal the zygote during its early days of development that it has split into 2. If all goes well, some 8 months later, 2 genetically identical babies will be born. So identical twins are fertilized eggs that split. 1 egg that splits in 2. That's why they are genetically identical. They began as the same egg. Fraternal twins are 2 separate eggs that are fertilized. So they are genetically different. Over the next 6 weeks, the embryo's organs begin to form and function. The heart begins to beat. We get an embryo. So the embryo stage. Okay, so this is the embryo stage. It lasts about 6 weeks. The heart begins to beat, the organs begin to develop, and then about 9 weeks, an embryo turns into a fetus. So in the picture C, we see an embryo, and then D, we see that it has now become a fetus. During the 6th month, organs will develop enough to give the fetus a good chance to survive if born prematurely. By about the 6th month, the stomach and other organs have formed enough to survive outside the mother, and at this time, the baby can hear and recognize sounds and respond to light. Remember, heredity and environment interact. This is true even in the prenatal period. In addition to transferring nutrients and oxygen from mother to fetus, the placenta screens out many harmful substances, but some slip by. Teratogens are agents such as viruses and drugs that can damage an embryo or fetus. This is one reason why pregnant women are advised not to drink alcoholic beverages. A pregnant woman never drinks alone. So drugs, diseases such as AIDS, alcohol, and smoking will affect the fetus. As alcohol enters the bloodstream and her fetuses, it depresses the activity in both their central nervous systems. Even light drinking can affect the fetal brain. Persistent heavy drinking puts the fetus at risk for birth defects and for future behavioral and intelligence problems. For 1 in about 800 infants, the effects are visible as fetal alcohol syndrome. You'll notice in the top picture, there are physical symptoms to watch for fetal alcohol syndrome. They have the facial characteristics are distinct. We have small eye openings, smooth over the lip, and thin upper lip. There's physical and cognitive abnormalities in children caused by a pregnant woman's heavy drinking. Severe cases and symptoms include facial disproportions, and of course we have also learning problems that are very, very prevalent. Okay, so why are some people so gifted? Is it in their genes, their nature, or is it nurtured from their environment? So now we have talked about the nature part of the debate. Let's turn the focus on the nurture. Our human differences are also shaped by our environment, by every external influence from maternal nutrition while in the womb to social support while nearing the tomb. Your height, for example, may be influenced by your diet. So nurture is referring to life experiences, the way one's taught, the environment, which one is surrounded by, and or culture. Let's imagine 2 babies with 2 different sets of genes. Malia is a beautiful child and is also sociable and easygoing. Kaylee is plain, shy, and colicky. Malia's pretty, smiling face attracts more affection and stimulating care. This, in turn, helps her develop into an even warmer and even more outgoing person. Kaylee's fussiness often leaves her caretakers tired and stressed. As the 2 children grow older, Miley, the more naturally outgoing child, often seeks activities and friends that increase her social confidence. Shy Kaylee has few friends and becomes even more withdrawn. Our genetically influenced traits affect how others respond and vice versa. Our environments trigger gene activity. So how can we find out the effect of nature versus nurture? Twin studies is a very important way that we can find out how our genes and our nature, our genes, and nurturing our environment effects and the differences they have. Because identical twins are so much alike, we can tell a lot about the effects of environmental issues, of nurture on their behavior and how it affects them physically and mentally. They are identical genetically. It is quite common that after babies are born, for some reason or another, the mother might need to give them up, both or one, up for adoption. So later, when we find where these two identical twins end up, psychologists like to study to see how they have changed, how they are physically different, and how they are also mentally and socially different. And the shocking finds is that oftentimes they are still similar in many ways, even though they have been separated since birth. So twin studies is a very, very useful way in helping us realize the importance of nature versus nurture, and how they both play hand in hand in developing the kind of person we turn out to be.